with me, say goodbye. Last night I dreamt of San Pedro, just like I'd never gone. I knew the song, the young girl with eyes like the desert. It all seems like yesterday, not far away. Tropical, the island breeze, all that made your world a
where you walk, 'cause the sidewalks talk, and you can't keep a secret from the ground beneath you. Step very lightly on the earth below, or before you know it, everyone will know. Streets were paved with 1,000 eyes, and try as you may, you can't disguise. There's only two things that you can't hide from, that's you and the ground you're walking on.
Watch where you walk, 'cause the sidewalks talk. You better watch what you do, what you do. 'Cause the sidewalk talk can get carried away. You better watch what you say, what you say. When you're living on the street, life can be full of misery. Find a place to call your own.
somebody would build a canal across that area where the French had had to drag their goods. And if they did, that would connect the Great Lakes with the Mississippi River Valley, and Chicago would be a hot spot for a trading post. But nobody did it in his time, and so about 1800, he bailed out, went down to Indiana, and started another trading post. 1803, his major competitor had been John Kinsey, who had a place across the lake in St. Joe, Michigan, came over, took over DeSable's trading post, and made a success of it. The city started to grow. By 1830, the original plat of Chicago was laid out. In 1833, the city was incorporated as the city of Chicago. And it grew and it grew and it grew. It grew fast. By 1850, there were 30,000 people living here. And it had grown so fast because first the Erie Canal in 1825, and then the canal that DuSable had hoped for in 1848. Those two canals and all the existing waterways and rivers and lakes created a waterway system 3,500 miles long, starting in New York City, up the Erie, up the Hudson, across the Erie, into the Great Lakes, down through Chicago. Everything went through Chicago, into the Mississippi River, down to New Orleans. That waterway system meant that the entire hinterland of this great continent could be developed. The farmers could go and settle in the areas like Minnesota and the Dakotas and know that their food, their products, produce could reach a market before it rotted. It also marks the spot of a shipwreck. And here's what happened. There was a man who'd been an army officer in the Union Army in the Civil War. He had been a circus performer and a circus owner. And he wanted to run guns. He wanted to be a gun runner. He wanted to run guns in South America. And he was here, he bought a boat here, and he took it up to Milwaukee on a shakedown cruise. He and his wife and a whole crew of guys. It was a terrible trip. Storms, boat was rickety. They got to Milwaukee, the crew jumped ship. He and his wife said, well, let's go back. They got some other guy to help them. They headed back to Chicago and they ran aground right over there. Some say right where the Hancock building sits, but I think that's a little too precise. In any case, the reason they ran aground is this. If you build a pier out into Lake Michigan, on this side of the lake, sand builds up on the north side of those piers and eventually becomes land. And what happened was they ran aground. They ran aground because none of this land that had been developed was on any chart. Nobody knew about it. See, all those buildings you see now, they're standing in what was once 20 feet of water. There was no land there, it was water. But when they rebuilt the mouth of the Chicago River. They straightened out the mouth of the Chicago River and they put piers out to straighten it out, and land started filling in on those piers. So he runs aground because there's no charts. And because there's no charts, he says to himself, aha, this land doesn't exist. I claim it. I call it the District of Michigan. I am the governor. And I don't have to report to anybody but the feds. I don't have to report to Illinois or Chicago. It's mine. And for $1, I'll sell you a lot. And you can put a shack on that lot. And he did. He sold a lot of lots with a lot of shacks. The place turned into a pretty nasty shanty town. Gambling, drinking, and all that other ranagazoo is going on over there. Now, Pine Street, which is now North Michigan Avenue, on the other side, there's all these nice homes and all this nastiness in front of them. Out! Get him out of here! 20 years it takes. Gunfights, 2 people die. Fist fights, God knows how many, and court fights. But he won, of all the many court fights, he won 2 of them because there was not on any chart. And so, the deepest part of the lake is 926 feet deep, way up at the very far northern end. Probably more like 120 feet deep now. And It's the only one of the 5 Great Lakes that lies entirely within the boundaries of the United States. This is our lake. The others share a boundary with Canada. Yeah, that's it. Ahead of us is a lighthouse that was put there during the second of our World's Fairs. It was the Century of Progress in 1933 to commemorate 100 years since the city was incorporated in 1833. Marvelous World's Fair. In fact, they had it for 2 years, which is unusual for a fair. In today's Tribune, Chicago Tribune, to the right of that building, another classic Greek. Anyway, it's the building to the right with the columns. That's the Field Museum of Natural History. Marshall Field had a natural history display during the World's Columbian Exposition, and it all went into storage afterwards. And so some people said, why don't we get Field to build a new museum for his collection, and there's so much more now. Field didn't want to do it. A man named Roger Ayers said to him in Field's office, he said, Mr. Field, you can sell dry goods till hell freezes over, and nobody will remember your name if you don't build this museum. Field threw him out of his office, but later we lived in every hour, and about every half hour, but we miss it on this trip. The fountain shoots up from the middle. It can go 150 feet if there is no wind. And colored lights are displayed on the fountain every evening. It's from dusk till dark. It's a beautiful thing to visit. Now over in the greenery we see the stainless steel curved structures sticking up above the trees. That is the J. Pritzker Memorial Pavilion. The Pritzkers are hotel people. They gave us that pavilion, and it is in the middle of Millennium Park. You visit Millennium Park back into the Great Lakes without ever taking your boat out of the water, which technically makes the eastern third of the United States an island. It's a body of land surrounded by water. I've made that trip. It's glorious. In any case, the lock is a long concrete chamber with gates on each end. And there's boats here waiting to go in. If you're on the lake and you want to go in, they open up the lakeside gates. You go in, they close the gates on the lake, they open the gates on the river. The water flows from the lock down into the river and down, and you're down. The boat goes down, and it's the reverse to come up. So technically, right here is the intercontinental divide of this huge waterway system that still is in existence. There were actually 2 aircraft carriers here. They were very strange aircraft carriers. They were side paddle-wheeled aircraft carriers, coal-fired by hand. They shoveled the coal in, and they were steam-driven. They had been converted from Great Lakes passenger vessels. 2 of them had been converted. And it was because they could not spare a carrier for training purposes, either on the Atlantic or the Pacific coast. So this worked out fine. I think there was something like 27,000. It seems high. Anyway, the flyers would learn how to fly their aircraft in warmer climates, come up here, then they would make 8 landings and takeoffs, and that would qualify them as a carrier pilot, the most famous of whom was George Herbert Walker Bush, our 41st president. Flew up to Sable. He made 8 landings and takeoffs. After the war, the University of Illinois took over the classrooms and the
being angels.